Hey, what's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo. I'm of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, and brassringmedia.com. Check it out. But I'm here today with Mr. Robert Karplis, WD Creative _ish. It's a Thursday. You know what that means. We're talking the AEW Dynamite. But we got some other big news to talk about, too. Robert, how you doing this fine Thursday?
Doing all right. Glad it's a Thursday. Wasn't sure for half a second. Forgot what day it was. So appreciate the reminder. Appreciate the updates, and we'll say hi to some of the folks joining us. And Dom is gone. Well, that's fun. So Dom just dropped out. Not quite sure what's happening here. So I guess I'm piloting this sucker on my own. Oh wait. Nope. Dom is back.
I swiped and I exited.
This almost became the best episode of this show ever, but don't worry, Dom is back.
I'm back, guys. Don't sweat it.
So's E, who says, "What's up? Charlie Sheen documentary on Netflix is great. When is the next RVD episode or the next Greg Gagne and Magnum TA episode?"
Both likely tomorrow.
Why is E not asking when the next Working Stiff's coming up? You know why? Because he knows that it drops every Thursday.
That's
Scott
right.
Chapman and I'll be recording at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Ooh, can't wait. Dre Owen says, "Hello, R&I. W trying to price out families. Wardlow tear his pec." Yeah, that's another interesting aspect.
Wardlow tore his pec to protest the WWE pricing out families. I'm confused.
I think that might be it. Yes, it's a one and done here. R&I, good day. This is Wrestling Old Head. It's Thursday, another day, and Wayne's World still holds up.
Yes.
What do you like better? Do you like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or Wayne's World?
Wayne's World.
Ooh, no, I gotta go Bill and Ted. They're two party dudes. All right. Hey, Robert. Saudi Arabia might be having a party in 2027. Did you know this story? Have you heard this?
That Saudi Arabia is having a party in 2027.
Well,
is it a pants party?
It's a WrestleMania party, reportedly. WrestleMania, according to the whatever the head honcho is, Saudi Arabia.
Stand by. I want to point out the name of the show. Our name of our show is Rumor and Innuendo. From what I heard, and this is like, again, we're doing like rumors now, that there was a press release that was written in Arabic that was translated into English that supposedly says that there's going to be a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. I'm pretty sure this is the plot of a Dan Brown book.
Doesn't it sound like it?
And to date, because I've been doing non-wrestling related matters for the better part of today, no one from WWE has confirmed that WWE WrestleMania is taking place in Saudi Arabia, correct?
That's correct. No confirmation from the WWE side of things. But so yes, you're correct. There was like a press release that got interpreted or transcribed, and then the news began to make rounds on social media Wednesday afternoon after Saudi Arabian advisor Turki Al-Shiki made the announcement during a Snapchat live video. So yes, and then Dave Meltzer added a little bit more rumor and innuendo to it all, stating that the plan was maybe 2028 for WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, but the reason it had to be 2027, according to the guy I just talked about, Ari Emanuel is the head of TKO. Nick Khan is the head of WWE. Dana White is the head of UFC. Dana White and Nick Khan are the head of TKO Boxing. However, the final boss is Turki, the Saudi prince, because he's the guy with all the money in the world at his disposal. So he pushed Saudi Arabia, I believe, was made a country in 1727. It's like their independence, like ours is 1776, right? 1727 marked the foundation of the first Saudi state, which is celebrating annually on February 22nd. They, in the same way, wanted it to be on the 300th anniversary, and they're paying money for it, and they have the matches that they want, and they're working really, really hard to get it. Robert, if WrestleMania took place in Saudi Arabia, what would that state for the brand of WWE? Good, bad, indifferent? I don't know. But what do you think about this?
So I think we're sort of operating with Schrodinger's booking. We don't know if what they were promised was WrestleMania or, as someone in the chat said, a WrestleMania-like event. If actual WrestleMania, if the biggest show of the year, the biggest two-night show of the year takes place in Saudi Arabia, that is genuinely concerning. I think at that point in time, the company that we know no longer exists. So WrestleMania is a destination show. It is a show that they have proven time and time again over the last 41 years. Wherever we set up camp, people are going to go. There's a number of cottage industries that exist around WrestleMania. So you've got obviously the Hall of Fame, the SmackDown, the Raw, the Access event, all the third-party independent wrestling promotions that run their big shows, other conventions that are taking place. It is a significant event. To move that, a signature event to Saudi Arabia, really brings into question, are people going to go and travel over there? Now, again, I didn't know this was our topic. Not the best topic to be talking about on September 11th.
True.
A lot of people have very strong feelings about Saudi Arabia, and especially as it comes to that. If Dan and Scott from Working Stiffer here, we'd be having a much different conversation. That being said, I don't know how comfortable fans internationally are with going to Saudi Arabia for an event. I think that the shows do well because they are a paid for bought show. I am unaware of anyone who has taken the trip over to Saudi Arabia for one of those shows.
Right.
I know people who've gone over to if there's an event in Dubai, they're going to go to an event in Dubai. Saudi Arabia has a different level of implication going to it, different levels of restrictions. It's a horse of a different color. If there was going to be an international WrestleMania, the leaning would be, that it would take place probably in London. I think that the way the French crowds have acted, they would be in line for a WrestleMania. But to take the most sacrosanct, the most sacred, the most important wrestling show that they do and bring it to Saudi Arabia feels very short-sighted, because there's a lot of ways that you can sell to the Saudi government. We're giving you fill in the blank big global event. You're going to pay for it. You're going to get whatever it is that you want, but not WrestleMania. And them wanting to take this feels oddly deliberate if that is the case, but we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. What I do know is Johnny Disco is back.
Oh,
good day. Finally able to catch R&I live again, even if I'm late. Don't worry, we're not taking attendance here today. We would have earlier, except Dom dropped out for a minute.
I did drop out real quick.
So, best producer in all of wrestling. This is going to be an interesting story. And I think ultimately, like, for I can always speak for myself. When they started doing the shows in Saudi Arabia, I was conflicted.
Yeah.
I think that there was a lot of, I don't necessarily love that WWE is playing into the propaganda that they were first pushing out there. It was the same time they were first allowing women to drive cars. And it was sort of this, look at how progressive we are, when the Khashoggi incident was not that much earlier. Since then, they've sort of forced the Saudi shows to be within continuity. And given what it is that we do on a daily basis, you can't unplug from what's going on in the Saudi shows. And even, CM Punk is an example of, well, I may have been mad at the government, but the people deserve the show. There's lots of places throughout the world where the people definitely deserve the show. That doesn't pass the straight face test. They better be getting a significant amount of money from it, and they better be really good at how they position this to Wall Street for TKO to feel comfortable going forward with it.
The thing is, like, you think about what Saudi's intention is too, and like they want it to be a travel stop. Like, this is that's one of their ultimate goals, is to have it be like some place people go to for a trip, vacation, all that stuff. So if they were trying to get WrestleMania there as their big highlight thing on their 300th anniversary of their independence or whatever it may be, then it's but from the WWE side of things, it's super short-sighted, I think, because you're getting money, you're getting paid right now, but what does that mean for your brand long term, especially if you take a year off away from the hub of where everybody goes to see WrestleMania in the United States or whatever it may be? I don't think it doesn't do good brand identity, so to speak, I would say, with all this.
I mean, taking your flagship show and hosting it in Saudi Arabia is almost as insane as doing all of your TV for 3 weeks in a row in a building that holds under 1,000 people. But nobody would ever do that. What's next on the docket, Dom?
Hey, you know what? Let's talk a little bit of that other show. It's AEW Dynamite. They came from Philadelphia, the 2300 Arena, for the third week in a row, and seated 916 people, apparently, according to WrestleTix from yesterday.
There was 960 people, but there was that one. Did you see? There was that one lady opposite Hardcam who looked so much like Ricky Morton.
Yes,
I couldn't stop watching her, and I love Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton, the outgoing BRCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Hey,
yes, who because of that damn dastardly Kerry Morton turning on his father to align with Steve Macklin, and that'll get settled in November. I believe that. But yes, there was yes, Virginia, there was a Dynamite last night, and dude, I will fully admit Raw this week was a shrimp on a treadmill. And if you watch this week's John Oliver, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. But like, it was just, we're going through the motions. When I saw that the main event for this show was another multi-man tag match, I'm like, are they just do house shows, Tony? Get it out of your system. This is a fine house show situation. We want to give you all the talent and stars that you love, and we're just going to make it an easy night for them. We're going to give them a multi-man tag. But what are we doing, man?
It very felt like, hey, let's finish this tour up in Philly and move on.
By the way, what a conclusion to the epic feud between Hangman Adam Page and Josh Alexander. A grudge match for the ages. I mean, you think of like Piper and Valentine. You think of Hogan and Savage. You think of Austin and Rock.
Yes.
You think Hangman Adam Page and Josh Alexander.
My goodness. I thought Alexander had it, Robert. I really did, especially when the Don Callis family interfered, showing that Hangman was in dire straits. But no, Hangman persevered and took out Alexander. He took out the whole Don Callis family. It's almost, Robert, like they're fodder. Do you get that kind of vibe from the Don Callis family, that they're kind of useless, or a bunch of Bebop and Rocksteadies?
Whoa. Bebop and Rocksteady were the primary henchmen of Shredder. You do not besmirch Bebop and Rocksteady.
Maybe the Foot Clan.
There was a Foot Clan vibe. Maybe it's the helmet that he wears. It's very Foot Clan. Look, the match was very good. Crowd was super into it. I don't mind the booking. I don't mind we want to put our world champion in a non-title match to get him out there. This is Bret Hart wrestling Hakushi. Like, I'm fine with it. I want to have visibility. I want to go out there. I want to compete for the crowd. And I'm going to go in there with a tough hombre. That's right, a tough hombre. And we're going to get this match. Totally fine with that. Billing it as a grudge match was just kind of silly. Then you get the post-match promo where it again feels like, what are we doing here? The notion is Hangman was challenged by Kyle Fletcher, who was part of the group that, murdered Kenny Omega. And so they just have a gentleman's conversation. They don't have a grudge match.
No.
And it became about, this is again where I'm just like, if there was a single production meeting, I'm sitting there, I would just raise my hand and be like, so Kyle Fletcher is too young and immature and inexperienced to be world champion, but he's 26. How old was MJF when he won the first world title and you guys treated him like a legitimate star? That's number one. Number two, why does Hangman care about Kyle Fletcher, the man, where I want to protect your soul and your integrity, when he, murdered his buddy a week prior? That's kind of the second piece of it. The third is, doesn't Kyle Fletcher have a title? And the whole point of giving him a secondary title was to be able to let him go on TV week after week after week, building a resume, winning important matches, so that when the time eventually comes to push him to be a world champion, he feels credible and ready to go. And also, didn't MJF have a contract that he could cash in to be world champion? So that's the guy who could be feuding with him.
Right.
Also, wasn't there a ranking system in this company at one point in time?
Let's not talk about that.
But no. Kyle Fletcher comes out. We're, I guess, going to get this match, but Don Callis is going to stay in the back, unsupervised, near the women's locker room. What could go wrong? So you've now got this situation, allegedly, hypothetically, potentially, maybe. I'm not saying anything. I know nothing. That being said, it's a fine match on a pay-per-view where we talked about this ad nauseum that they're charging $50 for. And this is the first one they're putting on HBO Max. And while I don't think it's going to be a bad match, I don't know anyone that's going, you know what? We only get 7 or 8 pay-per-views a year from AEW. One of them should absolutely be headlined by Hangman Adam Page and Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, Robert, like you mentioned it too. It's just like Fletcher has the TNT championship. He should have been somebody that's been defending that title week to week to week and everything like that. So, I mean, there's a certain disconnect with a person like that. Yeah, he's a rising star, but like, it's not like they've been really promoting him to the greatest of their potential. And, you know, so he just kind of does feel like, oh, it's Hangman and it's Fletcher. Yeah. And I was an advocate, even I think it might've been last week, even to put Fletcher in that position. If you're going to ride with Fletcher and have him take out Hangman, have him be a double champion and make it really, really big. But I don't know if we're getting that, Robert. Excuse me.
It just feels like a sort of an odd decision. It feels like an in your house style main event.
Mm-hmm.
This was something WWE was guilty of a lot. They did this with John Cena when John Cena was sort of early on in his push. They put him in there with Brock Lesnar, and they're like, he's going to go challenge. That's literally why his finishing move was the FU, because he was feuding with the guy who did the F5. And it was, you do the F5, I do the FU. And they just kind of put him in there before he was really, truly ready and fully baked just to get that match out of the way.
Right.
I understand that they are running thin on their roster at the moment. There's no Kenny Omega. There's no Swerve. There's no Hangman. You've now got a situation just on the heel side. You're not going to put Jon Moxley in there again. You've got MJF and Mark Briscoe doing their thing. Okada and Takeshita are kind of, you know, Takeshita won the G1. Oh, if you needed somebody that was just going to step up and say, hey, I deserve this, you got that guy right there.
Right.
I would have even been okay if it was Wardlow returned and they teed him up for it. And then, yes, he got injured and whatever, but it wasn't like they were positioning Wardlow to be the number one contender to begin with. Like, you had the space to put somebody in there to go up against Hangman Page. It's not like this pay-per-view was a surprise.
No.
And by the way, it's not like the main event of this pay-per-view was supposed to be Hangman versus Ospreay or Hangman versus Swerve or Hangman versus Kenny.
Right. No. Very aggravating. Very aggravating.
They also were literally teasing for a while what felt like the logical next steps in this, by the way, guys. Like, they put the breadcrumbs. You thought they were going to go there, which was when MJF joined the Hurt Syndicate, that he was going to take his shot, and then MVP reminding people, hey, Bobby Lashley is going to be going after that world title. And then they took the tag titles off Lashley, freeing him up, where you would have been like, okay, Bobby, get him. Instead, Kyle Fletcher. And by the way, I'm a big Kyle Fletcher fan. He's been a guy I've been highlighting for quite a while now. I'm like, when I first saw him, and I highlighted him as one of those problems of, wait, you guys are partnering with New Japan, and you're partnering with these other companies, and you're giving us great talents, and then they just go away. We don't get to see them again. So when I saw him and Ospreay, I'm like, these guys are fantastic. I want to see them every week on TV. Now we're getting them. You've put a title on them. There's a pretty good, straightforward path. I literally just saw somebody in one of the comments use the name Roosh. I don't even know what the comment is, but like, Roosh is a dude who, if you really just wanted to heat somebody up to beat, could have used Roosh.
Could he? Yeah.
It feels like they're telling a story without really telling a full story here. And you can do that, by the way, when you're on Peacock. You can do that even when you're on the ESPN app. But when you're asking people to pay for this pay-per-view to make it feel special and important and not a Dynamite winter is coming, this just doesn't fit the bill. I hope that I'm sure they're going to kill it in the ring. I'm sure they're going to do a bang up job, but I don't know. And there was nothing on this that really sold us.
No, I really don't think so either. It was overall a very kind of stagnant Dynamite, I think.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the rest of the show. Just
quickly.
There was the MJF pre-recorded promo of him in the parking lot after he attacked Briscoe from his honeymoon was delightful.
Mm-hmm.
So that I thought that was good. Mercedes and Emi Sakura versus Riho and Alex Windsor. Are you frozen, or is that just the expression you're giving? Because that's the expression. Emi Sakura is not great. This felt disjointed and weird.
Mm-hmm.
Ricochet cut a hell of a Ricochet, another guy, by the way. You could have heated him up with the Gates of Agony and had him go after Hangman, and you would have been like, yeah, that feels like a legit main event match.
Right. Yeah, especially at All Out too. Ricochet versus Hangman would be great.
Would have been a banger. And then, by the way, that would have freed Kyle Fletcher up to have a title defense against somebody, and it would have been a lot of fun. But that's neither hide nor hair. Stokely and FTR had this segment where they came out kind of doing the Dudley thing. Like they really wanted to tap into, like, when Bubba would insult the crowd and someone would want to jump out of the audience and fight them. And it was like, oh, that was really fun. I'm going to say this as delicately and as non-controversially as possible. Last night was probably not the night to do we're going to bait a crowd to attack somebody segment.
I think that's a fair point.
I just, it's just one of those things where it's the fact that someone's mind kind of goes to that. You don't want that. You could have easily done the same bit where they're arguing and yelling and screaming and get mad at the camera guy for getting in their way and attack the camera guy in the ring. But it felt super disjointed. Like the camera guys got knocked down and the crowd didn't quite know what was going on.
Right.
Didn't fully understand it.
There's a lot of the show that felt disjointed, I thought, overall. Like
Ricochet and Shelton was a great match. But why go through all the machinations of my guys are going to stay in the back, your guys are going to stay in the back, which, by the way, is literally the Kyle Fletcher story that they're telling, only to have the Gates of Agony come out. So it was like, so then why did we go through this whole rigmarole anyway?
Right.
It felt weird.
Something we didn't even talk about yet is Bryan Danielson on commentary. Did he resonate with you at all?
That's how little it resonated. I'm glad that he was there. I'm kind of like Jim Ross in the sense that that's a loaded start of a sentence. I like a two-man booth. I think a two-man booth is ideal. You want a play-by-play guy. You want a color guy. Taz is a fantastic color guy. Yeah. The three-man booth that AEW had of Shivani, Excalibur, and Taz worked to the extent that Tony could kind of rein in Excalibur. And Jim Ross on his podcast this week took a nice little, it was a slight dig at Excalibur of like, oh no, he's very good, but like, you give him a little too much time and he's going to run wild. And it's like, yeah, he's still learning how to find that balance. I don't know that I need Taz and Bryan out there.
Yeah.
They are treading on the same territory.
Yeah, they discuss the move and the science behind the moves and stuff like that. Taz does add color to it, and he's amazing at it. He's awesome at it. So, but I'm just like, Danielson is just, and it's his first time doing a full show like this, so it's like I'll give him benefit of the doubt. But like, yeah, nothing really struck with me in a lot of ways. Like, oh man, I gotta hear what Danielson has to say week in and week out. Where it's just like, even we talked about Joe Tessitore yesterday and how much he changed the dynamic of the show in certain ways. Or you think about a Corey Graves or somebody, a Wade Barrett,
Graves and Wade Barrett have knocked it out of the park. Bryan will absolutely do well in it. I think that, look, I'm a big Nigel McGuinness guy. I prefer Nigel on commentary. I would have started Bryan in a two-man booth situation. My dog's very upset. In a two-man booth situation.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
If I'm perfectly honest, with a Shivani. You could have done an hour 1, hour 2 thing like Nitro.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
I'm coming. We're talking Dynamite. The dog is very excited.
The dog's going wild. Dog's going wild there. But yeah, no, that would have been great. Danielson and Nigel with Tony. That would have been really, really cool. Yeah, I would have considered doing that too as well. But yeah, overall, trying to think if there's anything else that really struck with me.
I got to get back to my notes. So the Hook promo was shot well. It was interesting, but we're teasing Hook joining the Death Riders, I guess.
Is that what it is?
It was Hook basically saying like, hey, Ops, I understand what you guys did. We're cool. I'm by myself. Or am I?
Yeah. I didn't know if that was Death Riders or that meant somebody else is bringing somebody.
Who knows? Tony Storm Sky Blue was a blast. Tony Storm's Sandman homage was fun. This is one where, and I'll probably debate this with Chaplin later on Working Stiff when we have proper time, but I know joke stealing is kind of a bad thing. He's a comedian, he's got thoughts. There was a spot in this match, and it's not even a good. It's like one of these things where it's like it's not a good spot. They did the staple gun to the lower extremities, to the bread baskets. Aria Blake, whom I consider a friend, I've known her for many, many years, did this spot about a year and change ago, and it went viral all over the internet that she took a staple gun to her nether regions. And then they literally did the exact spot here. And it's not like it's one of those like, well, yeah, there's only so many ways to staple gun something. Like, it was pretty clear that was like they just took that spot. Yeah. And I don't love that. And it's not like it's an homage to a famous spot. Like, this was seen on the indies. Saturday Night Live, we get accused of this. Where like we saw like they steal a sketch supposedly from people. It struck me as a little frustrating. That's beside the point. The show ended of this episode of Dynamite, $500,000 thing, which is just again hilarious.
It's just such a disconnect. That number, that price number. $500,000? Are you kidding me? Like,
at least make it worth like a real amount of money, like a high amount of money that's worth like $500,000 is like nothing. Come on, guys. Like, the reveal at the end of the night, and it being Danny Garcia, the look on his face, he does not have a serious person's face. It's just silly. Like, I mean, we'll see. We've seen the Danny Garcia heel turns before. We've seen the Danny Garcia joining a stable before. If the idea to recharge the Death Riders is let's give him Garcia and let's give him Hook, maybe. But
I don't see Hook joining, but I mean, gosh, anything to just try to redo the Death Riders, let's not.
But they've invested a lot of time into it. They've invested a lot of energy into it. They kind of feel like we gotta see a return on it at some point. Maybe this is the spark, but we've seen again. You have Danielson on commentary. Danielson put over Danny Garcia huge. I mean, that's where he got the Dragon Slayer name for his finishing move, and it didn't really amount to much.
Right.
They gave him dancing. It didn't really work. That's an old Vinceism. Make him dance.
Okay, pal.
We'll see. What I can confidently say is that Dynamite next week is not in Philly, nor is it in Saudi Arabia. But we will be here tomorrow, as we are every Monday through Friday, to discuss all of the exciting things in the world of professional wrestling. You can catch us on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative _ISH X account, the @Dominic D'Angelo X account, the @SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo and ad-free shows. So on behalf of the Whole Food, Whole producer, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
I tell you what, Robert, that ending felt organic.